It's a fact, however, not very well known. The fish we refer to as a lake trout isn't even a member of the trout family. Instead, it's a member of the char family. The laker as we know it is referred to as the mackinaw, a togue, and in some cases the gray trout. Many names have been dedicated to the trout in various native tongues. In researching the lakers, it becomes obvious there are many geographical races of lake trout. However, the most common are the lean trout and the fat trout, basically identified by the characteristic body shape. Trust me, we'll be dealing with the latter of the two, the fat trout. In the spring and fall, lakers make a precise and predictable movement into and out of the shallows. This is due in part to the call of nature to fulfill their spawning urges, and the fact that their main forage will also take to the shallows. The laker is indeed a cold water fish, and in most cases will be forced to inhabit the deeper, colder waters of most smaller systems during the midsummer. And that alone will reduce your window of opportunity to fish them safe in the shallow water environments. However, that is not the case with Athabasca. This huge body of water offers a wide window for you to safely catch and release her super secret, the giant lakers. Every fish you will see in this presentation was caught and released during a single 3-day period in mid-July, and we never fished deeper than 25 feet, nor did we use any live or cut bait. Like I said, I researched long and hard to come up with the practical understanding I have of the laker, and one of the lessons I learned along the way was to find a very large body of water with great depth and the ability to hold cold water temperatures through the entire season. Combine that with distant offshore structures that near the surface, a quality forage basin, and voila, you have potential laker gold mine. And that's what we found at Athabasca. In most cases, you will find the best areas to be very remote and may take a little extra effort to achieve, but what the heck, that's part of the experience anyway. If you examine the habitat of trophy lakers, you'll find the requirements very rigid. They require cold, oxygenated water. As far as a lake classification, they're almost exclusive to oligotrophic systems. In the summer, to find them at depths at 50 feet or more is not uncommon, even in bigger lakes. However, it is best to refrain from fishing them when they are below 40 feet. You are likely to kill or severely injure lakers that are caught in these depths of more than 40 feet, even if you release the fish quickly. Remember, some of these fish can be in excess of 80 years old, and trust me, they will be very fragile. As far as their feeding habits go, they are actually bottom feeders and often scour the bottom for an easy meal. However, big lakers are piscivores and depend on a viable live baitfish population. In most waters, lakers will rely upon cisco, whitefish, tullibee, and in the case of Athabasca, grayling for their subsistence. As far as spawning goes, as I said earlier, lakers spawn in the fall, when the water temperatures are between 47 and 54 degrees, and will select large reefy areas or large point areas that rise from depths as deep as 35 or 40 feet to within inches of the surface. In some systems, you'll find lakers using rivers to assist in their spawning, and this can happen a bit earlier in the season if the weather conditions are right, meaning a severe cold front condition dispensing colder water into the main lake. Lakers do not spawn in what is referred to as beds. They are random spawners, simply dropping their eggs into crevices formed by the boulders where they are usually fertilized and incubate over the winter. Lakers are among the true giants of the freshwater kingdom, and there are many methods to catch them. One of the more common, without question, would be trolling. Trolling accounts for more than 75% of the laker catches around the world. It's very popular because of a few basic reasons. One being the ability to cover large areas of structure and maintain good lure speed and depth control. Another factor is lakers are notorious followers and have been known to follow lure presentations for great distances, tapping and nudging your offering many times before committing, even if committing at all. Boat control is also achieved with very little effort in almost all conditions, and in areas where you're forced to fly in, you'll be limited to the amount of equipment you can take in, i.e. trolling motors and deep cycle batteries. We did considerable trolling while at Athabasca for all of the aforementioned reasons. Our lure choices were wide and varied. We started pulling Stanley spoons and Yakima T60 flatfishes with Berkeley power bait trailers. Remember, I said lakers are notorious bottom feeders and are great followers. This should explain why we added the Berkeley power grubs for trailers. Anything beyond the lure's natural action and color reflection we could add seemed to help. And as the day part progressed, we found we needed to change both lure color and trailer color to stay on the bite. This is very common with Lakers because they have such incredible eyesight and are not afraid to use it. There was never a need for planer boards as one might expect. However, if you challenge the Lakers at Athabasca, it might be. We were basically alone on our structure, and being cautious with our boat control, we didn't seem to spook these shallow Lakers. The depths we were pulling lures at ranged from about 10 to 20 feet as the day progressed. The entire reason for fishing this area was due to an experience I had on a past trip. I was bringing up a Laker of about 30 pounds, and as the fish was ascending, she regurgitated a whitefish that appeared to be about 4 pounds. No sooner had this happened, and out of nowhere came a Laker large enough to eat the one I had on the line and committed itself to the offering that was regurgitated by the hooked Laker. This caused me to stop in my tracks and ended up losing the big one again. Rest assured, I was destined to return. Spoons are a great choice for shallow Lakers. You can dress them up or down depending on the feeding habits of the Laker. Our spoon choices included the Stanley Pike and Muskie Boss version and the Lynn Thompson 5 of Diamonds in a size 4. In almost every case, we added the life and scent found in the Berkley Powerbait trailer. We found the spoons to work well as a very shallow offering, as well as over deeper water to attract some of the fish that were being missed by the T60 offering, which was working much deeper. On a slow troll and a short line, one can expect the T60 to run about 14 to 16 feet. With a spoon running about 10 to 12 feet, you accomplished great column coverage. Another lure group we had great success with was the spinnerbait. In particular, the Stanley Pike and Muskie Boss spinnerbait, in both 1.5 and 2.5 ounce offerings, both trolled and cast. For now, let's concentrate on the trolled version. We found when we pulled the Cisco pattern and made large S turns, thus constantly changing the speed and direction, we caught very large Lakers. In this case, we were both running the same weight lure depending on the depth we wanted to achieve. At other times, we would run in a straighter line and simply pump our presentations to activate a strike. During this presentation, we would run 2 different weight lures and again claim more of the water column. Either way, Stanley Pike and Muskie Boss spinnerbaits in the Cisco pattern were at times as good as it gets. A big part of the problem with Lakers is they will often identify with a normal home range that could exceed 100 miles. What that means is once you have located a holding area or feeding area, you can't expect the Lakers to stay there for any great length of time. The truth is their forage is constantly on the move, and that will force the Lakers to move as well, especially the true giants. Their summer movements will often be dramatic and often hard to follow. With systems as big as Athabasca, there is always something in nature going on that will bring the big boys, or gals should I say, to the upper 20 or 30 foot of the water column, or shallower. The phenomenon we were dealing with had many variables. First of all, it was mid-July. Our surface temp was still below 50 degrees, and that meant the water beneath the surface was even cooler. We had a bug or gnat hatch that was taking place from the height of the afternoon right through dusk. The midday was the peak of the hatch, however, the fishing seemed to improve as the day lingered on. The surface of the lake was calm for the most part, which meant we could readily detect surface activity caused by whitefish taking advantage of the hatch. You could also detect this by the activity of the birds as well. However, they seemed to spook the larger trout. Every now and then you could actually witness grayling or whitefish actually break the surface. That meant it was time to do a bit of casting, if you were close enough. And when you hooked up, it was like hooking the south end of a semi headed north. You better have had good equipment because there was no room for mistakes with 40-pound plus of angry Laker on the other end of your short string, if you get my drift. This is no place for substandard equipment. After all, you spend a great deal of time, money, and effort to take a Laker trip of a lifetime. Why destroy the trip with inadequate or substandard equipment? Sure, you're going to let them go anyway. We all know that. But at least you want to get one picture for your wall of fame. And now get prepared to take a very close and personal look at the Lakers of Athabasca.
Yeah, definitely high 20s.
Nice looking fish.
No question of that. Aren't they just gorgeous, the colors?
Beautiful.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Put her back in and let her swim away.
You bit that musky boss, didn't you? Here she goes. Okay.
Yeah, let's see what kind of mess we got here, huh?
A big one.
See what kind of a mess I have.
A big one. Well, we have been switching back and forth, and the musky boss is outperforming this spoon. So, say goodbye, spoon. Say goodbye.